How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. I want to give an update on NNDM because they just came out with some news. The CEO came out with some news. I've seen one other channel cover it so far, but I want to cover it because they are looking at merging with another company or acquiring another company. But I also want to cover something that I did not see in any other videos, which is the fact that ARK Invest pretty much doubled their position today. So I have not bought the company at all so far. I am strongly considering it right now because ARK Invest, like I said, just bought it in a new portfolio and they bought a lot. So I'll explain that here in a second. I was having a hard time finding the information on it because the normal site that I use just did not update in time. But I went and scoured through ARK Invest's holdings and found out how much they bought. So I'll show you that here in a second. But they added about $30 million worth just today. So I'll get through all that. If you guys don't mind hitting the like button, I really appreciate that. Also hit subscribe if you haven't already done that. If you guys want to see exactly what I'm buying and selling in real time, you can check out the link down below to Patreon. And if you want 4 free stocks through WeBull, they're giving this for a few more days so you can deposit $100 and get up to 4 free stocks worth up to $3,700. It's a lottery system, so you can get some really high expensive stocks if you get lucky. So definitely check that out down below. The first thing that I want to do is give Richard Allen a shout out. He is the king of NNDM, and I think I one-upped him a little bit here because I found out that ARK Invest bought a lot more of NNDM today, but he broke this news, and you can check it out here. I have never read from this company. It's en.globes.co.il. It's apparently a foreign website from Israel, but essentially they came out and took a statement from the CEO of NNDM. Now, NNDM has a lot of money. They've raised $657 million since the end of the third quarter, which has been really taking advantage of the boom in their stock price because they've been going up a lot. I mean, just looking over the last couple months since the end of the third quarter, we've seen the stock price go from 286 all the way up 185%. So I think this is actually good for them. They have some competition. You can see here in this other 3D printing company, they kind of compare it. And the other company has $400 million worth of revenue from January to September, and Nano Dimensions has about 1.5 million. They say here too that Nano Dimensions announced, as with its previous capital raising rounds, that the new funds are required for working capital and general business needs that could include strategic opportunities, including acquisition of companies. The amount of capital raised by Nano Dimension, which itself has very modest operations, suggests is preparing for a large acquisition. 6 months ago, Nano Dimension hired U.S. investment bank Needham to advise on acquisitions in the U.S. in particular, so they could add complementary products and technologies in the electronic sector in order to expand the company's distribution channels. The CEO said, this is the important stuff, "We are adjusting our focus in order to leverage our strong cash position and the clam on the markets as a result of the continued influence of the pandemic. While Wall Street is behaving unstably at the moment on Main Street, there is a continuing slowdown following the closure of factories and delays in capital expenditure. This is an environment that allows Nano Dimension to take effective use of the support of its shareholders, and we have at the moment 2 targets on which we are focusing: speeding up and promoting our R&D, and at the same time looking for a private company to acquire at the right price whose value has fallen and that is synergetic." I think this could be huge for the stock. I mean, right now their revenue is pretty much non-existent, and they've been very clear about R&D. They have mentioned possibly acquiring another company, but I think this is the best thing that we've seen so far from them, and makes me feel the strongest that if they are able to get a company that's synergetic that could help them promote sales, that could be huge for them. And they do have a lot of cash. I think as soon as they announce whatever company that they are possibly merging with, I think the stock could go up dramatically. They did experience a drop just like we expected. Like I said last night, they experienced a drop after announcing this pricing of the extra shares. And I think this makes sense. I mean, we're diluting shares a significant amount, but like I said, I think we will also see a recovery. We were up well above $10 a few days ago, $10 a share. Now we are down at $8.40. But just like we said in our video yesterday, I thought ARK Invest would be buying this dip because what I've seen is whenever there's a dip, they buy. So a significant dip here on the blue line, they buy a lot. There was another significant dip here, they buy a lot, and they continuously add to it. But until now, this has only been an ARKQ. You can see how much they actually own. They owned about 4.6 million shares or 4.58 million shares for about $40 million worth. Now, this was added to a little bit, so I have not been able to update Lucid Tracking. This is the website that I use here, Lucid Tracking. But I went on ARK Invest website. This is up to date today. They have 4.7 million shares in here, but they added to another portfolio. So again, you can see that they added about 130,000 shares or so in this portfolio, which is great, but they actually added a lot more shares overall. So this is their ARK Next Generation Internet ETF, or ARKW. Now, you might be saying, well, this isn't very significant. It's the last company on this list. However, they are buying about 3.64 million shares. So I think that this is pretty big. I mean, looking at what they had before, they had about 4.7. Now they're adding 3.64 million shares, about $30 million worth. This is a big purchase, and they made it about 0.5% of the ETF in general. I think they will probably add to this every single day like they do with all these other positions, and it could easily push up into the top 35 or top 40 stocks on here, especially with some share appreciation. But just to see them buy another 3.6 million shares, I think is huge. And seeing this in addition to their acquisition goal coming up soon, I think you could definitely see an increase in share price even as early as tomorrow. I would not be surprised if the stock had another 30% day tomorrow like it's had before, or 20% day. I would be on the lookout for this. Just like in my last video, I did not say to sell just because I thought the share price would drop, because they have had really quick recoveries. Whenever the stock seems to drop, it seems to go back up the next day, and it's just a matter of time at this point. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't hold a position in this company just because it is so speculative. I've been sticking to more SPACs that I think have very limited downside because they are so cheap. For example, I did a video earlier, just a couple hours earlier, on Fuse SPAC, or FUSE, and this company is actually really cheap right now. And I bought it right around $11.05. Now it's at $12. It's been moving up a good amount after market hours. You can see I actually bought it right around $3.40. We're up about 8.5%. This is the type of company that I've been looking for just because there is a limited downside. I think with NNDM, there is more downside possibility, but right now it's just been killing it. So definitely be on the lookout for NNDM. ARK is investing. They almost doubled their shares now. I said in the title and the thumbnail that they doubled their shares. They pretty much did. So please cut me a little slack for that, but they just pretty much doubled their position, especially I think it's especially important because of what the CEO said today. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. If you guys like this, please hit the thumbs up. I really appreciate that. Check out WeBull if you want. There are only a couple more days where you can get those free stocks. And check out Patreon if you want to know exactly why I'm buying and selling. I made a video on this company, but I heard about it right towards the end of the day. I did my research. I bought it. I uploaded a video, but it came after the market closed. So unfortunately, if you can't trade post-market hours, you didn't see it in time. So if you want to see it in time, you can join the Patreon. I told them right when I bought it. And if you want to join WeBull, you can trade up till 8 p.m. Eastern time at night. So you get to trade 4 hours after the market closes. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. And if you want to see that video on FUSE stock, I'll put it right here.